There's a simple truth about life that most people never learn. Your mind doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your comfort. It's built to protect you, not to push you. It will do anything to keep you safe, to keep you from feeling pain, to keep you inside the limits of what's familiar. But safety doesn't build strength, and comfort never creates greatness. If you want to change your life, you must learn how to command your mind, to make it do what it doesn't want to do, to act when it's tired, to move when it's afraid, to stay disciplined when everything inside you wants to quit. That's the real difference between the people who grow and the people who stay stuck. Not intelligence, not talent, not luck, but the ability to make their mind obey them. This audiobook is about that kind of control. It's about training your thoughts the same way you'd train your body, because your mind is a muscle, and right now it's probably out of shape. You've spent years feeding it comfort. You've taught it that easy is better than effort. That delay feels safer than discipline. That talking about goals is the same as chasing them. But here's the truth. Your mind only becomes strong when you force it to face resistance. The more you make it do what's hard, the more powerful it becomes. Each time you push past fear, you build a layer of resilience. Each time you follow through on what you said you'd do, you build integrity. Each time you take action despite doubt, you build courage. That's how discipline is built. One hard decision at a time. But let's be honest, doing hard things doesn't feel good. It hurts, it's uncomfortable, and that's why so few people ever master it. Most people are ruled by emotion. They only act when they feel like it. They start strong and fade when the excitement wears off. They talk about goals, but quit the moment it becomes difficult. This audiobook isn't for them. It's for the ones who are tired of giving up on themselves. It's for the ones who understand that growth demands struggle. It's for the ones who are ready to stop waiting for motivation and start building mental muscle instead. Because motivation is fleeting, but mental strength is permanent. And you don't build it through comfort. You build it through challenge. There will be moments when your mind tells you to stop, when it says you can't do it, when it screams that it's too much. That's when you have to remember you're not your feelings. You're not your thoughts. You're the commander, not the soldier. Your mind is a tool. And if you don't learn to control it, it will control you. You don't need to wait for inspiration. You don't need to wait for confidence. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to act and keep acting until your mind understands that you no longer negotiate with weakness. This audiobook will teach you how to stay focused when your energy fades, how to push through doubt, how to silence the voice of fear, and how to do the hard things, not because they're easy, but because they're necessary. You'll learn that strength isn't about feeling unstoppable. It's about continuing even when you don't. You'll learn that success isn't built in a single big moment. It's forged in the small ones, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when it's just you versus your excuses. So take a deep breath. Forget motivation. Forget waiting for the right time. It's not coming. The only way to build the life you want is to force your mind to do the hard things, to act in discipline, to live with purpose, to keep going when comfort tries to pull you back. Because every hard thing you do makes you stronger for the next one, and eventually, what used to feel impossible will become who you are. Welcome to How to Force Your Mind to Do Hard Things. This is Bookwise Audio, and this is where your strength begins. Chapter 1. Discomfort is your teacher. Every time you chase something meaningful, you will meet resistance. That pull, that hesitation, that voice in your head that says, "Not today," that's not weakness. That's your mind trying to protect you. It's doing what it's built to do, keeping you safe. But safety and success don't live in the same space. You can't grow inside the walls of comfort. You can't build strength in a place where everything feels easy. Your brain was designed for survival, not greatness. It rewards you for comfort because comfort feels like safety. But the truth is, comfort kills potential. It dulls your hunger. It makes you forget that you were made for more than just avoiding pain. If you want to change your life, you must reframe how you see discomfort. It's not an obstacle. It's not punishment. It's the proof that you're evolving. Every time you push through what's uncomfortable, you teach your mind that pain is not danger. It's growth. When you lift weights, your muscles tear so they can rebuild stronger. Your mind works the same way. Mental strength is built by doing the things you don't want to do, By pushing yourself into discomfort again and again until the things that once scared you start to feel normal, that's how discipline is formed. Through repetition. Through moments where quitting feels easier, but you keep going anyway. You don't need to feel confident to act. You just need to act, even when you're uncertain. Confidence is not the starting point. It's the result. It's born from doing difficult things until your mind stops doubting your ability to survive them. The reason so many people stay stuck is because they've mistaken comfort for peace. They avoid risk, avoid stress, avoid failure, and call it self-care. But peace isn't found in avoiding difficulty. It's found in mastering it. It's found in knowing that no matter how hard something feels, you can handle it. Discomfort is the training ground for that kind of peace. It's the classroom where mental toughness is born, and the people who learn from it, they move differently. They don't complain when things get hard. They expect it. They know pain is part of the process. They don't seek relief. They seek resilience. They've learned to sit with the burn, to stand in the storm, and to keep moving forward, even when every part of their body wants to stop. The truth is, you'll never escape discomfort. You can only choose which kind: the discomfort of discipline or the discomfort of regret, the discomfort of pushing through fear, or the discomfort of wondering what could have been. Every version of your future requires effort, but only one version rewards it. You can stay where it's easy and keep struggling with the same pain, or you can walk through the fire and build something that lasts. Pain is temporary. Regret is permanent. So learn to see discomfort for what it is, the price of becoming who you were meant to be. You must also learn to make discomfort familiar, because if every time something feels hard you stop, your mind learns that quitting equals safety. It learns that the way to escape pain is to avoid effort, and over time, it becomes your master. You'll start negotiating with yourself. Just one more minute of rest. I'll start again tomorrow. I've already done enough. But that's how mediocrity sounds. It's disguised as kindness. It sounds reasonable, even gentle. But it's poison. The only way to silence it is to act before the mind has time to argue. When the alarm rings, move. When the fear appears, step forward. When the excuses begin, cut them off. Because every time you act in the face of resistance, you're teaching your mind who's in charge. You're saying, I'm the one giving the orders now. You won't always want to do the hard thing. You'll want to quit. You'll feel tired, frustrated, even hopeless at times. That's normal, but understand this. Your limits are not real. They're emotional. They exist because your mind doesn't want to feel pain. The moment you learn to separate emotion from effort, everything changes. You'll stop asking, do I feel like it? And start saying, it doesn't matter, because you've learned to lead with decision, not desire. And that's the shift that creates unstoppable people. So when discomfort shows up, don't hide from it. Stand still, breathe, let it teach you. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to show me? Maybe it's showing you your fear of failure. Maybe it's testing your consistency. Maybe it's building patience you didn't know you needed. Whatever it is, don't rush it. Don't run from it. Learn from it. Because discomfort is the language of growth, and once you learn to understand it, you'll never fear it again. Every time you push through what's hard, you build proof. Proof that you can keep promises to yourself. Proof that your limits are flexible. Proof that your mind will follow if you lead. And one day, the things that once broke you will barely move you. You'll realize that pain didn't weaken you. It refined you. That every difficult season, every struggle, every challenge wasn't blocking your path. It was the path. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally. It's the mentor that shows up uninvited but always leaves you stronger. So don't avoid it. Invite it in. Sit with it. Work through it. And let it teach you who you really are. Because the mind that can stay calm in discomfort can conquer anything. Chapter 2. Train your inner soldier. Building unbreakable discipline. There comes a point when you realize motivation will not save you. It's too fragile, too emotional, too inconsistent to carry you through a life that demands strength. Motivation fades when you're tired. It disappears when results don't come fast enough. It abandons you in the moments when you need it the most. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't need applause. It simply executes. If you want to force your mind to do hard things, you must train it like a soldier, because the mind, just like the body, becomes obedient only through repetition. A soldier doesn't wake up and wonder if they feel like showing up. They wake up and they do, every single day, through exhaustion, through fear, through discomfort. That's what discipline looks like. Obedience to purpose, not emotion. It's a form of self-respect, built through consistency. You train your inner soldier by setting a standard, and then refusing to negotiate with it. Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you start. Keep one promise to yourself every single day. These may sound simple, but each act of follow-through is a victory. Every time you do what you said you would, even when you don't want to, you're forging a mind that listens to your commands. At first, discipline feels like a cage. You'll fight it. You'll resent it. You'll crave freedom, but over time, you realize something powerful. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from laziness. Freedom from doubt. Freedom from chaos. When you can command yourself, you no longer need to rely on anyone or anything to move you forward. Most people lose control of their lives because they lack control of themselves. They live on impulse, pulled by distraction, enslaved by comfort, controlled by emotion. They think discipline is punishment. They think routine kills creativity. But that's a lie. Discipline is the foundation that allows creativity to thrive. It's what transforms potential into progress. It's the silent force that keeps you moving when excitement fades. Without it, you'll always start strong and end nowhere. With it, you can do what others call impossible. Not because it's easy, but because you no longer depend on how you feel to get things done. To build discipline, you must practice discomfort deliberately. Wake up early, not because you have to, but because you said you would. Do the workout even when you're sore. Sit with your work even when your focus drifts. Push through the moments when every fiber of your being wants to stop. Every time you act against resistance, you're sharpening your will. You're proving that your decisions hold more power than your emotions. Discipline is built in these small, quiet moments, when no one's watching, when no one will ever give you credit, when it's just you versus your excuses. There's a part of you that wants comfort and another that craves growth. The one you feed the most will win. Discipline is choosing growth, again and again, until comfort gives up trying. That's why discipline isn't built in comfort. It's built in routine, in repetition, in showing up every single day, even when it's inconvenient. The mind that learns consistency becomes unstoppable, because it no longer relies on motivation to act. Every time you choose discipline, you strengthen your self-trust. And self-trust is everything. When you can trust yourself to follow through, you no longer need external validation. You no longer seek approval. You no longer hesitate. You know that if you say you'll do something, you will. That kind of confidence doesn't come from words. It comes from proof. And that proof is earned through discipline. There's a saying, hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. If you train your mind to choose what's hard, life eventually becomes easier. Not because it stops being difficult, but because you become stronger. Every hard thing you do makes the next one easier. Every disciplined action rewires your brain to crave progress over comfort. Discipline doesn't remove emotion. It repositions it. It teaches your fear to follow, not lead. It trains your laziness to stay quiet. It teaches your mind that action comes first, and feeling comes later. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Miss one day? Get back up. Fall short? Adjust. Lose focus? Refocus. Discipline isn't about never failing. It's about never staying down. It's about waking up every morning and reminding yourself you are not ruled by feelings. You are ruled by decisions, and decisions shape destiny. When you live with discipline, you stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop chasing easy wins and start building lasting foundations. You stop breaking promises to yourself and start becoming someone you can finally depend on. And that's the moment your life begins to change. When your inner soldier takes command and your mind learns to obey. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop seeking motivation. Stop giving comfort control. Start building discipline. Slowly, deliberately, daily. Let it guide your focus. Let it shape your days. Let it forge you into the kind of person who doesn't need to force themselves anymore. Because discipline has become who you are. Chapter 3. Master your emotions, turning resistance into energy. There's a moment in every journey when you realize your emotions aren't just reactions. They're weapons. They can either destroy your focus or fuel your drive. Most people never learn this. They let emotions dictate their day. They let a bad mood become an excuse, a distraction, a reason to stop. They believe their feelings must be obeyed, that the mind and the heart always move together. But the truth is, emotions are not instructions. They're signals, information. They tell you where your mind is, not where you have to go. And the people who achieve anything great, the ones who build strong, disciplined lives, they've learned how to master those signals, how to turn resistance into energy, how to use emotion instead of being used by it. The reason most people quit isn't because they lack ability. It's because they've never learned how to perform under emotional stress. Discomfort, fear, frustration, these emotions hijack their focus. They start doubting, overthinking, second-guessing every decision. They get angry when results don't come fast enough. They get anxious when progress feels invisible. And soon they lose momentum, not because they're incapable, but because they've allowed emotion to take the wheel. You have to remember, emotion is temporary. Action is permanent. Your emotions will always fluctuate. But your mission, your purpose, must remain steady. That's how you build mental toughness, not by suppressing emotions, but by observing them, by learning to act through them, not because of them. When fear rises, don't run. Analyze it. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to protect me from? Most of the time, it's not real danger. It's discomfort. It's the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of not being enough. But none of those things can actually hurt you. They can only stop you if you let them. The strongest minds don't feel less fear. They just stop treating it as a stop sign. They've learned that fear is the brain's way of saying, we're stepping into new territory. And new territory is exactly where growth begins. Your emotions are powerful energy sources, if you can learn to channel them. Anger, frustration, disappointment. These are not weaknesses. They're fuel. They're fire in raw form. When you feel them, don't waste them on complaining or self-pity. Convert them into movement. Let anger sharpen your focus. Let disappointment push you to refine your process. Let fear remind you that you're alive, that you still have something worth fighting for. If you can train yourself to take that emotional charge and direct it towards your purpose, you'll find that resistance becomes your greatest source of power. The key is awareness. When emotion hits, you have to create space between the feeling and the action. A pause, a breath, a moment of command. In that space, you decide. You decide whether to act on emotion or act on intention. That's where mastery begins. In that small, deliberate gap between impulse and control. Because emotion isn't the enemy. Reactivity is react and you lose control. Respond and you gain strength. That's how you transform chaos into focus. That's how you turn resistance into energy. There will be days when frustration feels heavier than motivation, when everything goes wrong, when your patience runs out, when your emotions scream louder than your logic. Those are the days that build you, not the good ones, not the easy ones, but the ones that test your composure, your focus, your discipline. You must learn to be calm when everything around you is falling apart. Because if you can stay composed under emotional pressure, nothing can control you. That's what separates the strong from the fragile. Not the absence of emotion, but the ability to lead yourself through it. When your emotions are wild, slow everything down. Breathe deeper. Think longer. Move with purpose. The world rewards people who can stay calm when everyone else is losing control, because calm minds make clear decisions, and clear decisions shape powerful outcomes. Train your mind to be that calm, to be still under stress, to be centered when chaos rises. The more you practice it, the faster you recover from emotional spikes, the faster you turn anger into focus, fear into courage, doubt into clarity. That's emotional mastery, not the absence of feeling, but the redirection of it toward purpose. When you learn to command your emotions, you become a storm contained within a still surface. You move through the world differently, not because you don't feel pain, but because you've learned not to panic in it. You stop needing ideal conditions to make progress. You stop waiting for good days to do good work. You stop letting temporary emotions decide your permanent direction, and that's when you realize something powerful. Your emotions were never meant to be your master. They were meant to be your messengers. So the next time your mind screams, "I can't," let that resistance remind you, you're close to change, close to growth, close to breaking through what's been holding you back. Let the resistance push you forward. Let emotion fuel you, not frighten you. Let discomfort sharpen you, not silence you. Because once you master your emotions, you'll stop being controlled by what you feel and start being guided by what you've decided. That's what it means to build mental strength. Not to be emotionless, but to be emotionally intelligent, to feel everything and still move forward with purpose. When you can do that, nothing can shake your progress. Not failure, not fear, not fatigue, because you'll have learned the greatest skill of all, how to turn emotion into energy. Chapter 4. The Power of Self-Command. How to lead yourself when you want to quit. There will always come a moment when the excitement fades, when the progress slows, when the thing that once felt inspiring now feels unbearable. This is the point where most people stop, not because they're weak, but because they've never learned how to lead themselves when motivation disappears. Anyone can work hard when things are easy. Anyone can show up when they're inspired. But true growth begins the moment you hit resistance and decide to move anyway. That moment defines everything. Self-command means you stop waiting for someone to push you. It means you stop looking for external pressure to keep you accountable. You become the authority in your own life, the voice that gives orders and expects obedience. Most people live as if they're the soldier, waiting for a commander to tell them what to do. But you are both. You give the command, and you follow it. That's what separates consistency from chaos. When your mind learns to follow your direction, discipline stops being effort. It becomes instinct. Every time you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you weaken the chain between intention and action. Every delay teaches your mind that it's allowed to ignore you, and once your mind stops respecting your commands, you lose control of your life. Self-command begins with small victories, keeping promises no one else sees. Waking up when you said you would, finishing the task even when it's boring, following through on the things you told yourself mattered. Those are not small acts. They are proof that your words carry weight. They're the quiet drills that forge trust between you and yourself. When you build that trust, your mind stops fighting you. It starts to obey. Quitting doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's silent, skipping one workout, one study session, one honest effort. You tell yourself it's fine. You'll make it up later. But every time you quit in small ways, your mind records it. It learns that your words are flexible, that your rules can be bent. And that small flexibility is how strength erodes. The mind you want to lead cannot respect inconsistency. You must become someone whose word means law, not suggestion. That doesn't mean being harsh with yourself. It means being reliable. It means treating your goals as orders, not options. Self-command also means knowing when your emotions are lying to you. When fatigue is not exhaustion, but resistance. When fear is not a warning, but a habit. When your inner voice says, "You've done enough," and you know it's just seeking comfort. Leaders don't obey weakness. They acknowledge it and move through it. You have to learn to speak to your mind the way a commander speaks to a soldier. Clear, firm, and non-negotiable. You don't scream at it. You don't panic. You give one simple instruction. Keep moving. Leadership of self requires patience. It requires holding your standards steady, even when the results don't come. There will be stretches where nothing seems to work, where effort feels invisible, where progress moves so slowly it feels like you're standing still. Those are the moments that test command. Will you keep leading when no one claps? Will you hold the line when there's no reward in sight? Will you keep showing up when the outcome is uncertain? That's what real self-control looks like. Doing what's necessary even when it feels pointless. Because deep down, consistency compounds. And one day the small things will become the big things. Self-command is also about direction. You can't lead yourself if you don't know where you're going. You must have a vision, a reason that's stronger than your excuses. When you forget your why, your mind starts negotiating again. It starts asking, why am I doing this? What's the point? But when your mission is clear, hesitation loses power. Write your purpose down. Keep it where you can see it, because in moments of doubt, clarity becomes your weapon. You can remind yourself, I'm not here to feel good. I'm here to finish. Every strong person you admire has mastered self-command. They've learned to act without asking permission. They've built systems that don't depend on mood. They've turned their minds into soldiers, loyal, disciplined, consistent. You can do the same. It starts by stopping the negotiation. No more 5 more minutes. No more I'll try. No more I'll start again next week. When you say go, you go. When you say stop, you stop. When you set a standard, you hold it, because you're no longer waiting for someone to lead you. You've become your own commander. And when you reach that point, when your mind follows your command, something changes inside you. You stop chasing momentum. You stop needing validation. You stop getting lost in emotion. You become steady, calm, relentless. You no longer hope to feel strong. You are strong. Because the mind that listens to its own commands can never be broken by the noise of the world. That's the power of self-command. And that's how you lead yourself when you want to quit. Chapter 5. The Science of Consistency. How small actions create massive results. Everyone wants to change their life, but very few people are willing to do the same thing every day long enough for it to work. Because consistency isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not dramatic. Consistency is repetition without reward. It's doing what needs to be done when no one sees it, when no one applauds it, and when even you start to question if it's working. But that's how every great transformation begins. Not with intensity, but with consistency. Most people believe success is built through big explosive effort. They want the grand gesture, the perfect moment, the sudden breakthrough. But success is much quieter than that. It's built one small, seemingly insignificant decision at a time. One good choice, repeated 1,000 times, can change everything. One skipped habit, repeated 1,000 times, can destroy everything. Your life is not shaped by what you do once. It's shaped by what you do repeatedly. Think of your actions like drops of water. A single drop means nothing, but drop by drop, day after day, even stone begins to wear away. That's how consistency works. Small actions, done long enough, create irreversible change. It's not the hardest worker who wins. It's the most consistent. Because hard work without consistency is chaos. But steady work, patient, deliberate, disciplined, becomes unstoppable momentum. The mind loves novelty. It craves change, excitement, stimulation. That's why we start strong and fade quickly. Our minds get bored long before our habits bear fruit. But the people who win have trained themselves to fall in love with repetition. They don't need every day to feel new. They don't need constant excitement. They find satisfaction in the process itself. They understand that consistency is not about how much you do. It's about how often you show up. Even small, consistent effort beats bursts of intensity. Because intensity burns fast. Consistency endures. Every time you repeat a behavior, your brain is learning. It's building pathways, strengthening connections, rewriting the story of who you are. That's the science of it. The more often you act a certain way, the more your brain begins to expect that behavior from you. It stops feeling forced and starts feeling natural. Habits aren't built through motivation. They're built through memory, through consistency, through the decision to keep showing up until it becomes identity. That's how you go from trying to being. But here's the truth. Consistency will test your patience. There will be long stretches where you see no results. You'll wonder if it's working. You'll feel stuck, and your mind will whisper, "This isn't worth it." That's the point where most people give up. But the people who push through that silence, the ones who keep going even when it feels pointless, they break through the invisible barrier that stops everyone else. Because progress doesn't happen linearly. It happens in silence. And then all at once, you grind quietly for weeks or months, and then one day something shifts. You look back, and the person you used to be is gone. That's the reward of consistency. It works slowly, then suddenly. If you want to build it, start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Start with one habit, one routine, one decision that moves you forward. Keep it simple. Keep it realistic. And then protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. The person you become is built on what you do daily, not once in a while, not when it's convenient, every single day. To stay consistent, detach from the results. Focus on the system, not the outcome. Don't chase perfection, chase repetition. Perfection kills consistency. You miss one day and you think you failed. You break a streak and you want to quit. But discipline means starting again without judgment. It means understanding that consistency isn't about never slipping, it's about never stopping. The goal is not to be flawless. The goal is to be relentless. Every small action compounds. Every disciplined day stacks. Every repetition builds a foundation stronger than emotion. And soon your habits will take over. What was once hard becomes automatic. What felt forced becomes instinct. And what started as discipline turns into identity. That's how change really happens. Not overnight, but over time. If you look at anyone who's built something lasting, a career, a body, a mindset, a business, you'll find the same truth underneath it all. They just didn't stop. They were consistent long enough to outlast doubt, to outlast distraction, to outlast emotion. Consistency is the bridge between goals and growth. It's not the exciting part, but it's the only part that works. So if you want to change your life, don't chase intensity, chase consistency. Don't try to do more, just keep doing what matters. One step every day, without fail, because one day you'll look around and realize you've built everything you once thought was impossible. Not through motivation, not through luck, but through the quiet, patient daily power of consistency. Chapter 6. The Pain of Progress. How to push past the breaking point. There's a point in every journey where things stop being exciting and start being painful, where the enthusiasm that once carried you disappears, and all that's left is exhaustion, doubt, and silence. That's the breaking point, the place where most people quit. They don't quit because they're incapable. They quit because they mistake pain for failure. But here's the truth. Pain isn't the end. It's the beginning of real growth. It's the place where transformation begins, where strength is forged, and where your old limits finally start to dissolve. The path to mastery will hurt. It has to. Because growth demands discomfort. Every time you step beyond what's familiar, your mind and body resist. They cling to safety, to predictability, to comfort. That's why discipline feels heavy, why progress feels uncertain, why every meaningful change comes with struggle. Pain isn't punishment. It's the friction between who you are and who you're becoming. And if you can learn to push through that friction, to see pain as proof that you're evolving, you'll become unstoppable. Most people run from pain the moment it shows up. They avoid hard work. They delay tough decisions. They numb discomfort with distractions, food, entertainment, excuses, anything that keeps them from feeling what growth actually feels like. But pain avoided is pain multiplied. It doesn't go away, it grows. It hides beneath comfort and returns later as regret. The people who achieve what others can't are the ones who stop running from pain and start running through it. When your body aches from effort, when your mind screams to stop, that's not a signal to quit. It's a signal that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, because progress always lives on the other side of resistance. It's supposed to hurt when you're breaking patterns that have kept you stuck. It's supposed to burn when you're building new habits, new strength, new levels of self-control. The pain is the process. You can't skip it. You can only survive it. And in surviving, you grow. Think of how muscle is built. You lift something heavy, it tears. You rest, recover, and the fibers grow back stronger. The same principle applies to your character. Mental strength is built by tearing through mental limits, by continuing to move when your mind tells you to stop. When you sit in discomfort long enough, you realize that pain doesn't kill you. It refines you. It sharpens your focus. It teaches you what you're capable of enduring. And most importantly, it teaches you that comfort was never your friend. It was your ceiling. Every challenge, every obstacle, every moment of exhaustion, it's all training. Training for resilience, training for endurance, training for strength that doesn't crack under pressure. The pain of progress is the tax you pay for greatness. Everyone wants success, but very few are willing to pay the full price, the daily sacrifice, the mental strain, the repetition without reward. But if you can accept that pain is not a signal to stop, but a signal that you're growing, you'll start to crave it, because you'll know it's proof that you're moving in the right direction. Here's the truth most people never realize. Pain is not the opposite of comfort. It's the pathway to it. Because real comfort comes from confidence. From knowing that you can handle anything, endure anything, survive anything. When you've trained your mind to stay calm in the storm, when you've learned to move through pain without panic, you stop being afraid of challenge. You stop dreading the hard days. You start to meet pain with a quiet kind of respect, because it's the tool that's building you. The next time you hit a wall, when everything in you wants to quit, stop and breathe. Don't fight the pain. Feel it. Understand it. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to teach me? Because it's always teaching something. Patience, focus, endurance, control. If you can listen instead of resist, pain becomes your greatest teacher. Progress never feels like progress while it's happening. It feels like struggle. It feels like frustration. It feels like nothing is changing. But one day, you'll look back and realize that every painful step, every exhausting effort, every time you pushed yourself a little further, that was the transformation. That was the moment your limits broke. The breakthrough doesn't happen after the pain. It happens through it. So when you feel the burn of effort, keep going. When your emotions start fighting you, breathe deeper. When your mind starts screaming, I can't, respond with, I will. Because the pain you feel today is building the strength you'll use tomorrow. And the person who can walk through pain without losing purpose, that's the person who becomes unstoppable. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. You can't become strong while avoiding struggle. And you can't reach your potential while running from pain. So lean in. Embrace it. Respect it. Let it shape you into something unbreakable. Because once you realize that pain is progress in disguise, you'll stop fearing it and start using it to rise higher than ever before. Chapter 7. Mental Reprogramming. Training your brain for relentless focus. Your mind is the most powerful machine you'll ever own. But most people never learn how to operate it. They let it run wild, chasing distractions, reacting to impulses, and believing every thought that passes through. And then they wonder why they can't stay focused, why they lose discipline, why success feels so far away. The truth is simple. If you don't program your mind, the world will. And the world's code is distraction. From the moment you wake up, you're surrounded by noise, notifications, opinions, entertainment, temptation. Your brain is constantly pulled in 100 directions, never still long enough to think clearly. Every distraction steals a piece of your focus. Every time you react without awareness, you're training your mind to be scattered, not sharp. That's why mental reprogramming is essential. You must take back control of what your mind listens to, what it focuses on, and what it obeys. You must train it to serve you, not sabotage you. Focus isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, and like any muscle, it grows through intentional resistance. When you sit down to work and your mind wanders, that's resistance. When you try to meditate and can't stay still, that's resistance. When you want to stay disciplined but your thoughts keep whispering, you can do it later, that's resistance. Every time you bring your focus back, you're training your brain to obey. You're teaching it that you are in charge. That's how you reprogram your mind, through repetition, awareness, and control. The first step to mental mastery is observation. You can't control what you don't understand. Start by watching your thoughts, not judging them, not reacting to them, just observing. Notice how your mind behaves when it's uncomfortable. Notice the patterns, the excuses, the doubts, the distractions. That awareness is power. Because once you can see your thoughts clearly, you stop being controlled by them. You stop living on autopilot. The second step is input control. Your mind is a product of what you feed it. If you fill it with negativity, gossip, and noise, it will echo that chaos back to you. If you feed it with discipline, learning, and silence, it will start working for you instead of against you. Guard your mental diet. Unfollow accounts that drain you. Limit conversations that lower your energy. Replace stimulation with education. Replace noise with stillness. Because what you consume becomes how you think, and how you think becomes how you live. The third step is deliberate focus training. Your attention is like a lens. The more you narrow it, the more powerful it becomes. Train yourself to do one thing at a time, fully, deeply, without switching. Set a timer, block distractions, and give your full mind to one task. It will feel difficult at first, like trying to hold your breath underwater. But over time, your focus will stretch. You'll be able to go longer, think deeper, and move faster without losing control. That's when your brain starts to rewire. It begins to expect focus instead of chaos. Your mind learns from repetition, not motivation. Every time you choose concentration over distraction, you're installing new code. Every time you finish what you start, you're reinforcing structure. Every time you ignore the noise and stick to your plan, you're teaching your brain what's important. And soon, focus stops being a struggle. It becomes a habit. But focus isn't just about saying yes to the right things. It's also about saying no to the wrong ones. You can't give your energy to everything and expect excellence in anything. Learn to protect your attention like a treasure, because it is. Every notification you check, every meaningless argument you entertain, every minute lost to scrolling, that's energy you'll never get back. And if you lose focus daily, you lose progress monthly, and eventually, you lose direction completely. Focus isn't a skill, it's a defense system. It protects your mind from the world's distractions, so you can stay locked in on your purpose. Mental reprogramming also means rewriting your inner dialogue, because the words you repeat become the limits you believe. If your mind is full of phrases like, I can't, I'm not ready, or I always fail, you're building a mental prison one thought at a time. Replace them with commands, not complaints. Say, I will. Say, I'm learning. Say, I'm not stopping until it's done. Your brain follows language, and the words you use are the blueprint for your reality. Finally, reprogramming your mind means building a daily reset, a space where silence replaces noise. Take 10 minutes every day to be alone with your thoughts. No screens, no distractions, no agenda, just you, listening to your own mind. At first you'll find chaos. Then you'll find clarity. Because silence is not emptiness. It's where your best thoughts are born. The more you practice awareness, control, and repetition, the more your brain becomes your ally. It stops fighting you. It starts working for you, filtering distractions, focusing on goals, and finding solutions instead of excuses. You become sharper, calmer, stronger, unshakable. That's what it means to have a reprogrammed mind, one that no longer chases comfort, but commands focus, because when your mind listens to you, nothing can stop you. Chapter 8. Building the Unbreakable Routine. Systems that keep you moving forward. There's a reason why the strongest people in the world don't depend on motivation. They depend on systems, because motivation is emotional, but systems are mechanical. Motivation fades. Systems repeat. If you want to master your mind, if you want to stay consistent long after inspiration disappears, you need an unbreakable routine, a structure so strong that it carries you forward even when you don't feel like moving. Discipline is the foundation, but routine is the engine that turns discipline into momentum. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But real freedom comes from structure, from knowing exactly what you'll do today and doing it. Structure is not a prison, it's a weapon. It protects your time, your energy, and your focus from the chaos of the world. Without structure, the day controls you. With structure, you control the day, and that difference is everything. To build an unbreakable routine, start with clarity. What matters most? What habits align with your long-term vision? What daily actions move you closer to your highest self? Don't build a routine around comfort. Build it around purpose. Make sure every block of your day points in the same direction. Progress. Once you know what matters, design your environment to make success automatic. If you want to work out, keep your shoes where you can see them. If you want to read, place the book on your desk. If you want to focus, turn off the noise before it starts. The best routines don't depend on willpower. They remove the need for it. Here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. And if your systems are weak, your discipline will always fail. That's why successful people build routines like armor, morning rituals, focused work blocks, consistent sleep, clean nutrition, quiet time for reflection. Every system is a safeguard against chaos. It's how they keep moving when life gets heavy. Because systems don't care about emotions, they just work. A strong routine begins in the morning. The way you start your day sets the rhythm for everything that follows. Wake up at the same time. Avoid your phone for the first hour. Move your body. Feed your mind. Set your focus for the day before the world tries to steal it. That one simple practice, owning your morning, can completely change your life. Because if you win the first hour, you win the day. But your routine isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you don't. Don't start the day with distractions. Don't say yes to everything. Don't fill every moment with noise. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Your mind needs space to think, to recover, to plan. Without rest and silence, even the best routine will break. Balance is not weakness. It's part of the system. Repetition is what makes a routine powerful. At first, it will feel mechanical, forced, rigid, tiring. But repetition rewires the brain. The more often you perform an action, the less mental resistance it triggers. Soon, the behavior becomes automatic. And that's when you unlock freedom. When your habits carry you forward without thought, discipline no longer feels like effort. It feels like flow. That's how routine turns into identity. You stop trying to be consistent. You simply are. But here's the catch. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. An unbreakable routine doesn't mean you'll never miss a day. It means when you do, you return immediately, you don't spiral. You don't restart from zero. You reset and continue. That's what separates the strong from the stuck. They don't let one missed day become a missed week. They know momentum isn't about never falling. It's about never staying down. To build an unbreakable routine, treat your habits like pillars. If one falls, the others keep you standing. Have a routine for your mind. Reading, reflection, learning. Have a routine for your body. Movement, rest, nourishment. Have a routine for your mission. Focused work, progress tracking, discipline, each pillar reinforces the others. Together, they make you unshakable. At some point, you'll stop asking, "How do I stay motivated?" Because your life will already be built for movement. Your routine will carry you through tired days. Your systems will keep you aligned when emotions fluctuate. And the structure you once resisted will become the reason you succeed. That's the secret of the unbreakable routine. It makes success the default, not the exception. So build your day with intention. Guard your hours like treasure. Let repetition be your ally, not your enemy. Because one day you'll look around and realize you didn't need to force discipline anymore. Your systems did the work for you. That's when you'll understand you don't need to fight for focus every day. You just need to live inside the routine that creates it. And once you build that, you'll never fall behind again. Chapter 9. The Power of Long-Term Thinking. Winning the War of Patience. In a world obsessed with instant results, patience has become a forgotten strength. We live in an age where everything moves fast. Quick fixes, overnight fame, shortcuts to success, but nothing lasting is ever built quickly. Every masterpiece, every empire, every transformation takes time, consistency, and an unshakable belief that progress is happening even when you can't see it. Long-term thinking isn't glamorous. It's quiet. It's slow. It's what separates the impulsive from the unstoppable. Because when everyone else quits after a few weeks, the patient one keeps going and eventually wins everything. The truth is, your goals are not supposed to happen fast. They're supposed to test you, to see if you're serious, to see if you can handle the waiting. Most people aren't defeated by failure. They're defeated by impatience. They want results without endurance, growth without time, mastery without repetition. But life doesn't reward intensity. It rewards duration. The person who stays consistent for years will always surpass the one who burns out in months. Patience is not about sitting still. It's about moving forward steadily, without panic, without frustration, without constantly checking how far you've come. Think of growth like planting a tree. You don't dig up the soil every day to see if it's working. You water it. You wait. You trust the process. Because growth happens underground first, quietly, invisibly, patiently. And the same is true for you. Every disciplined day is a seed. Every repetition is a root. And the results, the visible proof, will bloom only after enough time has passed. That's the law of patience. Your mind, however, is wired for immediacy. It wants to see progress. It wants to feel the reward now. And when it doesn't, it creates doubt. It whispers, "This isn't working. You're wasting your time. You should have made it by now." That voice is your greatest enemy. It doesn't understand long-term thinking. It's addicted to dopamine, the rush of instant gratification. And if you listen to it, you'll trade your long-term success for short-term comfort. The people who master life are the ones who master time. They know that real success is a slow build, like carving stone, like sharpening a blade. It's not exciting. It's not easy. It's not fast, but it's real. They don't look for quick results. They look for progress, quiet, consistent, compound progress, because they understand that small gains multiplied by time become unstoppable momentum. Think of it like this. If you improve by just 1% every day, it doesn't look like much. But in a year, that's 37 times better. That's the power of patience. Compounding effort, invisible at first, undeniable later. This is what long-term thinkers understand. The real game is not about speed. It's about endurance. You don't have to move fast. You just have to never stop moving. To think long-term, you must detach from instant validation. Stop measuring success by what you can see right now. Measure it by what you're becoming. Each day you stay disciplined, you're rewiring your identity. Each month you stay consistent, you're building a foundation no one can see yet. And when your moment finally comes, people will call you lucky, but you'll know it was patience all along. Long-term thinking also means accepting boredom as part of the process, because mastery is repetitive. It's not about doing new things, it's about doing the same thing, better, sharper, cleaner, every day. Boredom is not a sign to quit. It's a sign that you're entering the territory of mastery. That's where most people give up, and where the great ones keep going. Patience isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to walk through the storm without losing your direction. There will be times when life feels unfair, when progress slows down, when you give your best and get nothing back. But those moments are testing your commitment. Not your capability, your commitment. Because greatness is not built in the moments of reward. It's built in the seasons of waiting. To win the war of patience, stop chasing timelines. Focus on rhythm instead of speed. Focus on discipline instead of motivation. Focus on consistency instead of perfection. Because the truth is, you're not running out of time, you're just wasting it by expecting shortcuts. When you stop rushing, you start building. When you stop forcing results, you start creating real ones. The world belongs to those who can stay calm while everyone else panics. To those who can play the long game when everyone else is looking for quick wins. To those who can keep walking long after others stop. So remind yourself daily. It's not about how fast you get there. It's about how long you can stay on the path. Because in the end, patience always wins. Not because it's stronger, but because it never gives up. Chapter 10. The Unstoppable Mind. Becoming the person who never quits. There's a point in your journey when you stop chasing strength and start becoming it. When every excuse you once believed in loses power. When every voice that said you can't gets quieter. When quitting simply stops being an option. That's the birth of the unstoppable mind. Not a mind that feels no fear or pain, but a mind that acts despite them. The unstoppable mind doesn't wait for the right conditions. It creates them. It doesn't ask, how long will this take? It asks, how far can I go? To become unstoppable, you have to understand one truth. Your mind will always look for the exit. It's built for safety, not greatness. When things get difficult, it will whisper, stop. When progress feels slow, it will whisper, it's not working. When you're tired, uncertain, overwhelmed, it will whisper, you've done enough. And every time you choose to ignore that voice, every time you move anyway, you build something powerful inside you, mental immunity. That's what separates the resilient from the rest. They've trained their minds to stop negotiating. You can't become unstoppable if you keep listening to your limits, because limits are not real. They're patterns. They're walls built by repetition, built by every time you gave up, hesitated, or stopped believing. The moment you refuse to stop, the wall begins to crack. The moment you push past one more repetition, one more hour, one more day, the wall breaks, and behind it, you find a version of yourself that was always waiting. Stronger, calmer, sharper, unshaken. The unstoppable mind is built in moments of weakness, not strength. When everything in you wants to quit, but you keep going anyway. Because strength doesn't come from ease. It comes from endurance. It comes from learning to perform under pressure, to focus through fatigue, to keep your word when no one's watching. It's built in the silence of effort, when you feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. But you keep showing up anyway. That's what makes you dangerous, because you've trained yourself to act without validation. To build that kind of mind, you must destroy one idea completely, that you need to feel ready to act. You don't. You never will. The mind becomes unstoppable when it no longer waits for emotion, when it's trained to execute on command, when it understands that feelings are weather, temporary, fleeting, irrelevant, and purpose is the anchor that holds you steady through it all. That's how the great ones think. That's why they rise while others rest, because their mind is built on commands, not comfort. The unstoppable mind also understands that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every loss, every setback, every disappointment, it's training. Pain sharpens your focus. Failure strengthens your resolve. Each challenge you survive is a brick. In the fortress of your character, you don't become unstoppable. By avoiding failure, you become unstoppable. By learning how to rise faster every time you fall. Because once you stop fearing the fall, you start walking without hesitation. And that's when you realize, no obstacle can ever stop someone who refuses to stop moving. But here's what most people miss. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you never rest. It means you rest with intention. You pause to rebuild, not to escape. You recover strategically, not emotionally. The unstoppable mind knows when to push and when to breathe. It doesn't chase burnout. It balances energy, not effort, because longevity is strength. And the goal isn't to go hard once, it's to stay strong forever. To become unstoppable, you must also master perspective. Every obstacle is either a weight or a weapon, depending on how you hold it. When life hits you, don't ask, "Why me?"
Ask, what is this teaching me?
Shift your focus from reaction to response, from frustration to adaptation, from fear to purpose. Because the mind that can stay calm in chaos is the mind that controls the world around it. And finally, the unstoppable mind lives by one rule: forward. Always forward. No matter how slow, no matter how tired, no matter how uncertain, keep moving, because as long as you're moving, you're winning. Progress doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be constant. Every day you show up, you're reinforcing who you are. You're proving to yourself that quitting is no longer part of your identity. And once that truth locks into your mind, no circumstance, no criticism, no challenge can break you. So if you want to become unstoppable, stop waiting for motivation. Stop chasing perfection. Stop listening to fear. Train your mind to obey your purpose. Keep showing up, especially on the days you don't want to. Build the habits, the systems, the patience that will carry you when emotion fades. Because the strongest version of you is not the one that feels ready. It's the one that keeps going anyway. That's what it means to have an unstoppable mind. It's not about being fearless. It's about being unbreakable. And once you reach that point, life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you command. You've come a long way. From the first page to this final moment, you've traveled through every layer of resistance, fear, doubt, fatigue, distraction. And now you stand face to face with the truth. Your mind is your greatest weapon. Everything you've ever wanted. Discipline, confidence, peace, success. It all begins here. In the quiet space between thought and action, the war was never outside of you. It was always within. And now you know how to win it. You've learned that discomfort is not punishment. It's a sign of growth. That emotions don't need to be obeyed. They need to be mastered. That routine is not restriction. It's liberation. That patience isn't weakness. It's the strategy of the strong. Every chapter has led you closer to one realization. You don't need to wait for motivation or for someone to believe in you. You don't need perfect timing or an easier path. You only need control of your mind, your focus, your choices. Because once your mind obeys you, your reality will too. There will still be days when it feels heavy, when nothing seems to move, when you question whether all this effort is even worth it, but those are the days that matter most. Those are the days that separate the person you were from the person you're becoming. Because greatness isn't built on perfect conditions. It's built on persistence. It's built on the small, unseen victories, the quiet hours of effort, the choices no one claps for, the moments you kept going when no one noticed. That's where transformation hides. In the ordinary, repeated with extraordinary consistency. The truth is, there's no secret formula, no shortcut, no hack. It's just you, showing up over and over again, until showing up becomes who you are. The mind you've trained through these chapters, that voice of discipline, calm, and purpose, it's now your greatest ally. You've learned how to silence doubt, redirect emotion, and create systems that hold you steady through the storms. So when life gets loud again, when fear knocks at the door, when comfort calls you back, remember this. You've already proven you can lead yourself. You've already built the foundation. All that's left is to keep walking the path. You are not who you were when you began this journey. You've outgrown hesitation. You've outgrown waiting for permission. You've learned to command your own mind. And that's the rarest skill of all. Now, it's time to live it, to take what you've built here and bring it into every moment of your life. Don't just finish this audiobook. Embody it. Let your actions be the evidence. Let your discipline be the message. Let your focus be the proof that change isn't something you wish for. It's something you train for. Because once you master your mind, you master your world. And from this moment on, you are unstoppable. This is Bookwise Audio. Thank you for listening. And remember, the voice that leads your life is the one you train every day. So keep training it. Keep pushing. Keep rising. Because the story isn't over, you're just getting started.